He only played 40-something minutes in New South Wales, but apparently he killed it. So
it's very agile too. He's very agile too because we've got it on good authority that he can actually dodge bullets.
I can't wait till the Broncos get embroiled in something.
Oh, my man.
I'm coming back on when the Broncos get embroiled in something.
It was nice having you, John.
Right, boys. Episode 8, Catch and Pass podcast. We've got another special guest in with us tonight because Dave's still out with work. We'll get to that in a minute. But for this episode, we got last week's round. Obviously, it's going to be a pretty heavy Origin episode. Obviously, the teams got named Sunday and Monday. We're going to the teams. The game has been moved to Townsville. A few predictions, and then our top 3 this week will be top 3 Origin series. So yeah, like I said before, we got a big Johnny Lister in for Dave today. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, mate.
Not much to say. No, I'm a Para fan, obviously, shirt on. No, I love the game. I've enjoyed watching the podcast the last 7 episodes, and said to Brad, if there's ever an opportunity, I'd love to come on and be a part of it because I think it's sick what you're doing.
100%. We agree. We concur.
Cheers.
Fuck, he's already better than me.
It's good, and it's nice to hear from our fan.
Alrighty, we'll get straight into last week's games. It'll just be a quick rundown of the scores. So we had on Thursday night Broncos Storm. Broncos were probably in it for maybe 20 or 25 minutes, and then it really escalated. So Storm got up 40-12. Real close one with the Cowboys and the Warriors. Cowboys up 29-28. Another bit of a big scoreline with the Tigers and Dragons. Tigers 34, Dragons 18. Penrith continue their winning streak. 30-4 against the Bulldogs. Bunnies 38 too good for the Eels. Sorry, mate. 38-20.
Eels didn't get off the bus.
Oh, shocking for them. They seem to they're flying so high, and then I don't know what's going on with them at the moment, but geez, they've hit a bit of a lull. Roosters 44 over the Raiders 16, gave up a lead again. I think they've lost 5 out of their last 6, and in each of those 5 losses, they've been leading at the start of the game. Insane. 38-10 Sharks over the Titans, and the last game, which is probably the biggest upset of the round, was Knights 18 over the Manly Sea Eagles 10.
Yeah, so my streak of the Knights fucking my tips every week continues.
Unbelievable, eh?
I know.
I did not see that coming.
I think the craziest...
Look out, Jono, because it's Knights Eels this week, so it's all depending on what I say.
You want to give me his bank details now? Or?
The craziest half of footy from that weekend, though, was the scoreline, the Penrith and Dogs game at halftime.
Oh, mate.
Like,
I was sitting in the lounge room watching it, and I said to the missus, I said, the Dogs could attack, Penrith would be in trouble.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Because the 2 teams that have really put it to Penrith this year are the 2 bottom teams on the ladder.
Yeah.
But the same thing with Penrith. Second half, they put the foot on the throat and they just keep going until they hit dirt.
I still say the Broncos Penrith game we went to Hodgie at Suncorp a few months ago. That half by Brisbane was the best half Brisbane's played all year. Second only to what they did against the Titans.
That game against the Broncos.
Or maybe back to front, yeah.
That game against the Broncos was easily the most that they've been tested all year.
And
easily.
Yeah. But pretty good round of footy overall, apart from some odd results. But the judiciary news is the other big talking point, and probably will continue to be. But
yeah, so looks like the NRL tried their best to fuck over Queensland like they do every year by charging.
By giving them game one.
Yeah.
And that's a topic for later, I believe, Hodgie.
Townsville's not technically Queensland; it's more like an Iraq or Somalia or something dangerous like that. So
South Moresby or something.
Yeah, South Moresby, exactly.
But yeah,
he got off, but did he?
Kafusi got off, so justice. We were just saying before, apparently Tarek Sims is free to play for New South Wales, so another win for Queensland there.
What a bizarre choice that was, wasn't it?
That was the one I didn't see. Your bench is like the strongest I've seen it in a couple of years, if not one of the stronger benches. But when I saw the 32-year-old Tarek Sims, like, yeah, he runs hard and he's been playing well for the Dragons. But
he's been playing all
right. On the weekend, none of the Dragons forwards ran for over 100 meters.
Honestly,
that's what I don't get. The bench is better than the run-on side.
It's bizarre, hey? It's crazy.
I don't even know how Sims got picked.
Yeah, you've got White and Paulo, Haas and Martin on the bench. That's insane.
I feel like Sims probably got picked up. He played last year, so maybe it was just like he played pretty good in the series last year, still playing okay now. Maybe a few injuries. Obviously, like Crichton and
can throw an MMA knee.
Oh, yeah, how about that? He was lucky to get away.
I don't even know how he got away with it. I don't know.
Anyway.
All right, so speaking of, we're going to the Origin team selections. Obviously, this episode is going to be pretty heavily around Origin and probably next week as well.
Best tweet I saw all week in regards to the Origin teams, best tweet I saw all week was a New South Wales fan whinging that they put Trebojevic in the front row. He's a fucking fullback.
Oh my god! Yeah. I was so confused. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's horseshit. Alrighty, so just give me one sec.
I got the teams here if you want me to read them
out. Yeah, so we'll get into the New South Wales first, just because.
Righty. Fullback and captain is James Tedesco. The wingers, we've got Brian To'o and Josh Adokar in the centres.
You've really got to highlight that To'o a bit more.
Yeah, it's an apostrophe there, mate. It's not To'o.
Yeah. It's To'o.
To'o.
Yeah. I said To'o.
Anyway, business on the wing for New South Wales.
Right. Should I start over or?
No, keep going.
We're good.
Tedesco. Tedesco.
All right. So we've got Tedesco at fullback. On the wings, we've got Josh Adokar and Brian To'o. And
better
in the centres, Latrell Mitchell and Tom Trebojevic. In the halves, we've got Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary. Front row, we've got Daniel Safidi and Jake Trebojevic. In the props, Damien Cook at hooker. Back row, Cam Murray, Tarek Sims, and Isaiah Yeo. Is that okay?
Yeah, say so.
Yeah.
And
Yo.
And by the way, Isaiah, his name is spelled Isaiah.
Everything about his name's shit.
This goes to Ox.
And his team. And on the bench, we've got Jack Whiten, Junior Paulo, Payne Haas, and Liam Martin.
Payne Haas and Paulo are going to destroy the Queensland team when they come on.
Yeah.
I enjoy them coming off the bench, to be honest.
20-minute mark is going to be ouch time for Queensland.
Yeah. When Paulo comes on, look out for 60, 70-minute gains per set by New South Wales.
You're a New South Welshman, Johnny?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm not bad at all. I think I would have tried to get Regan Campbell-Gillard in there. I know he was suspended last week, but I think
I agree.
He runs harder than a few of those picks.
Yeah.
And like Saifidi, he hasn't done enough for me at all. in my opinion.
Apart from last weekend.
Apart from
Manly.
last weekend.
Yeah.
Last weekend, yeah, great. But it's one game out of 11 he's performed where there's a lot of other forwards that have done more.
He just looks
I
mean,
have
though.
a funny feeling that maybe Freddie got in his ear before last week and said, mate, either show me something or you're not playing. Because his game last week was a lot better than previous. But again, I agree. I would have gone with RCG over him purely based on the fact that you shouldn't have to get that kick up the arse to have one good game before selections.
Yeah, that's it.
What do you think about Guthrie not being there?
Nah, he just needs a haircut, mate.
He absolutely does. That drives me nuts. I feel like he's probably kicking himself a little bit because last year he obviously got picked in the centres. I feel like if he played well in that position last year, he definitely gets picked there again this year and Latrobe misses out.
I think last year that was New South Wales' biggest mistake, was playing people out of position in the centres just to get them into the team.
Yeah,
agreed.
And, I mean,
well, it's a big mistake because look at all the
Jack
look at
White
the
was
tries.
Dally M winner last year, but he got owned in Origin because he's not used to defending as a centre.
Yeah,
and I can't remember how many tries we got on his side, but it was, I was glad that they kept picking him. To be honest,
it was essentially the games were won through those corridors.
Yeah,
through those
definitely
centers.
were.
Well, Capewell came out as like the hero of the series last year, and no one expected that.
behind Branko.
Oh, Bronco League.
I just want to highlight something as well that Ben Eichen said the other night on NRL 360, and it's just another thing you can add to the list of things that I disagree with that he says. But he said that he doesn't know he's not got any confidence in Luai and Cleary in the halves because they won't have as much space and time to run their plays. That, like, while it sounds accurate because of the pace and the speed of State of Origin, those two have played against the Storm, they played against the Roosters, they played against Eels, the Rabbitohs, and a lot of these better teams that rush forward in defence. And like, they're both in the top 3 or 4 for try assists this year. Like, I don't think they're going to have any issues. And like, that's the combination just behind the forwards for New South Wales that scares me the most, is that Luai, I was praying Luai didn't get selected. I was praying it went to Whiten, but Luai and Cleary together is like danger signs.
I can kind of agree with him a little bit when he says that about Cleary, because Cleary under the pump probably doesn't play his best footy. But to say that against Luai, who arguably plays the best footy he plays when people rush out of the line at him and he's got no time and he plays that off the cuff footy.
Yeah.
So Ben Eichen, you're a fool.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. I understand where he's coming from, and when you think about it, Eichen played off the top of my head, I think about 17 Origins himself. It's probably where he was at his best, and every Origin player tells you that the speed of the game is way more than what you experience at NRL level, and the intensity. And I get what he means in the sense that everyone seems to go into their first game of Origin thinking they know what to expect, but then they get surprised at how quick it is. So maybe that's just what he means, and he didn't.
I think they'll take a lot out of playing a grand final last year, though. I think that will help them heaps, especially against the Storm, who essentially won the game off the back of really pushing up in defence. I think they both probably learned a lot of lessons from that. I mean, Cleary obviously went on and lost the fucking series straight after.
He wasn't that great either.
No, he wasn't. But I think they just look a bit more
stable.
Stable this year.
I think you guys are right that they will do a good job. I just think that's probably where Eichen's coming from.
I think
from his own experience.
Eichen's wrong. Like, how can they're going to be able to implement their game plan? Because look at the forward pack they've got to use.
Like,
Paul and Huss come on after 20 minutes. Cleary plays his game easy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like that's look at the people like you said about coming off the bench. It's not like they're not going to have any go forward. And you add what's his name into that? Is it Cook into that as
Yeah.
well? Like, to say that they're not going to have any time is to act as though the New South Wales forward pack isn't going to be going forward. Which, I mean, please. I think they're going to go forward in them.
All right, well, let's read out the Queensland team.
Who cares? Move on.
Fullback, Kalen Ponga. On the wings, we've got Xavier Turncoats and Val Holmes. In the centres, Kurt Capewell and Dane Gagai. In the halves, Cam Munster and Daly Cherry Evans, who's the captain. Props are Christian Welsh and Tino Fasua Malawi. Hooker, Harry Grant. In the second row, Felicia Kavusi and David Fafita. Locking the scrum, Jai Arrow. And on the bench, AJ Brimson, Jaden Sewer. I'm rattled. Fodawaker and Offhand Gowie.
Tell me this, right? Straight off the bat, why the fuck do Queensland not name their team in the goddamn positions? What is the deal? Every single year they name in this bullshit alphabetical order thing. Makes no sense to anyone. No one gives a fuck about that.
You know what makes sense though? You know what makes sense? 8 in a row.
What?
Also, I just wanted to talk about.
Bro, that was so long ago.
Well,
yeah, you weren't even. Yeah, you weren't even following league then. Apparently, Kalen Ponga is not going to play Origin 1, which is going to move Val Holmes to fullback and Kyle Felt to a wing. That was pretty late.
That makes no sense.
So AJ doesn't go to fullback.
AJ is 14.
Yeah, but he should go to fullback.
Yeah, he should definitely go to fullback.
And I'd put
Sure,
Reid
they got
Marnie.
another 14.
I'd put Reid Marnie at 14.
Well, they
Reid
left. Reid Marnie's been left out.
He's gone back. He's gone back to those losers in Western Sydney.
He's been left out of the squad altogether.
Yeah, he's back playing. He'll be playing for
19th,
Para.
he's 19th man, so he's still in the squad.
But
they let him go.
He's been released.
Yeah. So you watch him make 85 tackles this week for Para.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they can still call
That
him
is
up.
fucking crazy.
It has happened.
But why would you though? That's the thing. Like, why would you have him go back to Para, play a game that's probably pretty risky, and then try and bring back into the squad?
We're not short.
He's only just come back from an injury.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. If Harry, I don't know. To me, I would rather see Reid Marnie in the side.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. He's like to completely disregard Marnie sending back to Para to have Brimson, who is pretty much a complete fullback.
No,
coming on as 14. Like, what are you going to do with him? What's he going to do? Like, play a second lock role? Is he going to take over Harry Grant, who has little to no match fitness at the moment?
You might see a few people shuffle around. Noting that Capewell's playing in the centres, he might push in to a second row role and have AJ playing centre.
Even that is nuts.
No, it's stupid.
That is crazy.
Hey, careful, Hodgie. Like, remember this happened last year where you threw a lot of crazies out, and I don't know why you're doing that. And so
because everyone, might add, said that was like on paper, Queensland had a shit team.
I never said that at all. I always said I said 2-1 from the start. But what I will say.
I said 3-0, and each game Queensland would lose 50-0. Like, that's a direct quote from me last year.
Queensland are in good hands. Like, look at the assistant coaches for Queensland and the experience you have in camp with Thurston. Nate Miles is in there. I'm sure he's got a lot to say. But Alfie, King Henry, and Paul Green, like, it's a pretty complete.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm not completely disregarding the fact. Like, obviously, every single Queensland team that is put on a park, they're going to do. It's kind of like that Storm system. Like, they get a job and they're going to do it. It just seems it's an odd choice. It's an odd choice.
It'll be the team will change again. There'll be 2 or 3 more changes. That's just what I heard this afternoon, was that Holmes would go to fullback and Kyle Felt comes into a wing, but that could be bullshit. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who I heard that from. It's usually maybe Weidler or someone.
You probably heard
You know
that
what,
from Kyle
though?
Felt.
I fear Kyle, like a wing partnership of Coates and Felt more than I do of Coates and
Holmes.
Because whoever, like if you got Felt against Toto or like God forbid Coates against Toto, he's like that's the thing. Like I'm stoked that these Penrith people have made it. Luai, I'm just not really that convinced about the big games yet. And Toto, really, like, he's a meter eater. He's a proper gun player. But under the high ball, man, he doesn't have that vertical leap in him. He's like, I think he's like 5'10" or something. He's not even 6 foot, I don't believe.
No.
So to go up against, like
4'8".
He's an English-speaking Matt Utai.
Yeah, exactly. So that really makes me nervous. So the fact if Felt comes into the team and he's up against him, I think he's going to have troubles big time.
You just made me remember one of the funniest things I've ever seen on a footy field. Utai under a bomb one day, and he's like, and that Falcon hit him on the forehead. He's like, dunk, and he's like, it's the funniest shit. Oh.
So, what do you think
pretty happy with our forwards?
Out of the whole team, what would you say is probably the biggest surprise? Was there any surprises in there for you? Or
biggest surprise for me was, there was Offengawi for starters. I really don't understand leaving Marnie out, and I thought Cohen Hess would get that last bench spot over Offengawi. So I don't know.
Hess has been good, man. Todd Payton got some mongrel back in him, and more or less said, "You look like Tarzan. You're running like Jane. I'm putting you in the front row." And he's been starting at 8, and I haven't got the stats, but he's been carving for the Cowboys.
I remember you saying that a few weeks back that he changed positions and pretty much it's like just get the ball and run forward. He's done really well.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's why.
So you go.
I'm pretty sure that's why Marnie got sent back too, because Hess got brought in as a 19th man because he's in Queensland as well. So they've just left him there. But I still think, I feel bad for Marnie. Like, he's a young kid. He would have been pumped getting that phone call.
Yeah. He's not far off getting.
I think we'll see
anything could happen.
Series.
Yeah, we will see him 100%.
I think if New South Wales win this game off the back of probably our bench players, I think you'll probably see some movement in the Queensland bench.
Yeah,
I reckon you'll see him for the dead rubber game in Sydney, game 3, after Queensland have wrapped the series up in 2 games.
Classic. How do you feel about what's his name? I'm so bad with names. Who's your 5'8"? No, you're 5'8".
Munster. Yeah, it's hard to remember that guy.
How do you feel about him coming back in? And do you think he'll be fit?
I think we're getting some smoke and mirrors in the media. They wouldn't entertain it if he wasn't ready to go.
Do you think?
It's too risky. They haven't named anyone to back his position up. So
that's what I mean. That's why I think it's so risky.
Yeah, well, that's why I think it's smoke and mirrors, because if they had brought say like a Ben Hunt in or something like that into the squad, then I would think, okay, that's to cover Munster. They're not. No, it's smoke and mirrors. It's bullshit. He's 100% fit, I reckon.
On Sunday, they said he's not going to play Origin 1. Monday, he's fit to go. Let's go.
We do it every year. Like 2001, Alfie Langer, we can't get him on a plane from England next minute.
He's already in Wayne Bennett's bloody guest house by then.
How do you think Bellyache feels about him coming off injury, going straight into Origin?
Don't think he gets a say.
Well, Paul Green would have spoken to the club coaches. But yeah, imagine Paul Green ringing Craig Bellamy. Hey, Craig, it's Paul Green. What do you want, mate? I don't have fucking time for this.
How'd you get my number? Who gave you my number?
Hey,
no, it's more.
Hey, Craig, it's Paul Green. Who?
Never heard of it.
I tell you what, there'll be a massive uproar if Munster gets injured and he's out for a while.
Oh,
that
was his injury.
Foot injury.
Foot injury.
That's what I heard. Yeah, foot.
That's all. It wasn't obviously broken or anything. It's just some sort of.
Just too many.
There's been nothing about it. Like
too many nights on the D floor with Fisher.
carving it up. So obviously the game was scheduled to be in Melbourne. Melbourne's been locked down with COVID. It's probably a safe bet to move it. We don't know where they're going to be at by the time. I mean, you'd be pissed if you had booked all your shit to go down to Melbourne, and now it's literally in the complete opposite
This is the age of
the
travel
country.
insurance.
And it's
travel
for the people
insurance.
that have it, yeah. Well, does that cover hotels and everything?
I don't
Yeah,
care. I
well,
didn't book tickets.
Well,
Who
it
cares?
does.
Yeah, unless you've got
gone-
deposits down on shit, then
It's gone to my hometown. I
So
saw
what do
Temporary
you think about
Stadium.
Townsville?
Do you want to hear it from
Good
me?
call.
Or?
Yeah, good call. Do you think?
Look, I'm all for fairness, so I don't think it. I think there could have been I don't know, like people saying Adelaide, people saying Canberra, like logistically, like getting players from all around Australia to those places closer to the hotspot in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Oh man, whatever. It definitely couldn't be Suncorp, but the way the government's handled it was pretty sneaky. But look, it is what it is, and it'll just make New South Wales I don't know. 27,000 people in a stadium for Origin is a piss take. You may as well have taken that game to Leichhardt or something, or Brookvale. Like I don't think it's going to be the same atmosphere. It's not going to matter when the game's being played, but it is what it is. It's happened now.
I don't know, man.
I think it'll be a good atmosphere.
Townsville's
Even though that stadium's only 25,000 or something like that, 27,000 you said.
Yeah.
When it's chock a block, it's pumping. I think it's going to be
because
a good
of the
atmosphere.
way it's the way the stadium's designed.
the northern end of
too.
that stadium is open, so you've got
Yeah,
people sitting on grass. Like,
Is it?
Oh well.
Yeah.
Is it
but that's
really?
good.
Oh, I thought it was
Yeah.
designed
good
similar to
atmosphere.
like Bank
I
West
think-
and
If we're talking fairness, I know people have floated, the last non-neutral series was 2 games in Queensland, so this is unfair. But that was 4 years ago. I mean, like, it's not like we've got back-to-back home series. For me, Townsville.
Would you say that?
It's
Would you
a
say
massive.
that though? New South Wales had the last one and they got it again.
I'd like to say no, but I do like to have a whinge about New South Wales. So if we're being honest, no, but for me, it's a massive reward for the people of Northern Queensland because time and time again they've had to watch Origin on TV when their team was dominating. I mean, a lot of people up there don't have the resources to get down to Brisbane for a game. It's a long way. Melbourne's closer to Brisbane than Townsville is. And it's just one of those things. It's going to be great for the people up there to be able to actually get in there and go watch a game live.
I agree with your point of view on that, like it is. And obviously that part of the country year in, year out gets fucked on as far as floods, fires, all that sort of stuff. Like they put up with a lot of bullshit.
youth crime, day in, day out.
Oh, my biggest thing is going to an Origin in Townsville is going to be Lang Park 1988.
Yeah,
Like it is going to
it is.
be as
gonna be hostile. It's gonna be
hostile
hostile.
as it can possibly be. I was talking to a chick just like yesterday who she put this thing up on Instagram about living in North Queensland and being a New South Wales supporter. And this is fucked. But the last time she wore a New South Wales jersey up there, someone spiked her drink. Like that's how insane. Like, I mean, that's probably like a pretty big downer as far as like the podcast goes and everything. But it kind of just proves like how it is going to be so one-sided Queensland up there. Like if you go to Suncorp, you have like this sort of predominantly Queensland, but you'll have enough
Pockets of rebellion
New
in the
South
crowd.
Wales.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
mate, Townsville.
I still think you'll get.
It's going to be
you
98% Queenslander.
Yeah, but you get a pocket, like you said. They'll still have a Blatchies Blues section. There's two.
I don't think they will.
There's
I don't think they
two.
will.
There's 2 military bases in Townsville, so it stands to reason that there's a lot of Southerners who
Play AFL.
Yeah. I'm convinced that it is going to be old school Lang Park sort of vibe. I mean, it's great because it'll be great to watch on TV, but you can't say that's not an advantage. That's a massive,
it's a huge
It's
advantage.
massive. It is.
The only thing bad for Townsville is they'll sell out of tissues on Thursday morning.
Amen.
Yeah, what from Jizz? Oh.
Socks and tissues gone. Anyway, that's Townsville. It's gonna be a great game. I know it's gonna be. I hope it's not a blowout. I'll take something like 22-18 Queensland, or something close like that. But
the thing about Origin that I love every year, there's always some sort of bullshit. There's always something about it. There's always one team's looking to say that the other team's got an advantage. There's always something around Origin every single year, which, like this year, the Townsville thing's pissing me off. But like, it doesn't matter. Like every single year, there's always something. There's always something, and I think it's the thing that makes it so good.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what Queensland are like. So we've got the game up in Townsville now. We've got Kafusi able to play. Munster's come back from injury, so clear underdogs. So it's going to be a tough battle against the Penrith Panthers. But
I feel like it's kind of flipped a little bit, whereas for the most part, Queensland always had their team set in stone. Like it was always like no one's really looking at the New South Wales team being like, oh, like why is this person picked? Where now it's kind of the script has flipped a little bit, whereas everyone's sort of looking at the Queensland team now and being like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
kind of choice. What are they going to do?
Queensland were forced to rebuild and then had bulk injuries last year, and so it's been fun times to see what's happening at the selection table.
Speaking of, we'll go into our predictions for game one. We'll start with the newcomer, Johnny. So I'm just going to go with first try scorer, who wins and what the scoreline will be, and man of the match.
And how much that multi's paying.
First try scorer.
I'm not calling this the prediction section. I like to think of it as the no money multi.
No money multi. I like that.
I think first try scorer is going to be Turbo. I think he's just too good. He's going to run off, and he'll get the first try. I think Blues win it by 12.
By how much? 12.
By 12.
Gives the exact scoreline.
I don't know, maybe 24-12.
Mm-hmm.
Reasonable, reasonable. What was the third? What was that?
That's not bad.
Man of the match.
Man of the match.
Probably Tedesco. I think he stands up in these kind of games.
Yeah, I tend to agree a little bit.
Oh, surprised.
Bradley, what do you reckon?
Mate, I'm going 22-16. And first Queensland. First try scorer, Felice Kafusi.
Ooh, he'll be paying a bit too.
Up the middle. Paying what?
Don't know. We don't do that around here. We're better than that. Come on, boys. Get out of the gutter.
And man of the match is going to be my man, number 6 for Queensland, Money Munster.
Stocksy, what do you reckon?
$34, Kafusi.
Damn, get on it.
Just going to pause the pod for a tick.
That's worth a punt.
I'm going Queensland to win. Score will be 18-14. So fairly tight. And first try scorer, Gagai, because that's what he does in Origin. And man of the match, going with Harry Grant.
Harry Grant.
Okay.
I think he's.
How many minutes do you think he'll play?
He's going to have to play a few without.
Ash.
Hmm?
You're up. Go on.
What?
No, got to visit up. You're right.
Who is it?
Ash.
Poke your head in.
Poke your head in. Ash. Who's your pick for Origin? Who's your pick for
Nick
Origin?
Earl.
Queensland or New South Wales? By how much? By how much? She said 36-0.
To New South Wales? Bold. Bold.
She also walked in with a bottle of wine that's empty, and she's got her car key, so she's been drink driving and predicting footy games.
All right, so I'm going to go. It's obviously it's going to be a pretty dry track up there, so I think there'll be plenty of points scored. I'm going to go 28-20, obviously New South Wales. I'll go first try scorer.
You put a lot of thought into this.
I'll go my boy Isaiah. I think Isaiah on the edge, maybe. And I'll go man of the match. Cook. I'm going to go Cook for man of the match.
Ooh, that's a bold call.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He hasn't
I think
done much running
No.
lately.
he hasn't done a lot of running, but I feel like up in Townsville, it's going to be pretty dry, fast track. I think the New South Wales forwards, especially the ones coming off the bench, will be going forward enough for him. And I think he will be looking to have a real big game because he has been a little bit quiet this year.
Who was that?
And,
Jack DeBell? I was gone.
I went Cookie, man of the match.
Oh.
I think he's going to have the gun game. I'll say either him or my boy Cleary. I'll go 50-50.
Hey, just a quick one as well. I forgot. I think we might find as well, if there's close games, the difference between scores will be Cleary's boot as opposed to Holmes.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You reckon Holmes is going to kick, not Munster?
Not if Cameron Watch has anything to say about it.
Is that why he hurt his foot? Because he was.
Just clubbing the tee all the night.
Yeah,
Something
Bellamy ran out of concrete tee for him to kick and stubbed his toe.
Probably got turf toe or something.
Oh,
All right, going off the back of my arguably big call with Cookie being at the match, when he goes for a big call for the game through Edgeworth, I need to piss hard, so I'm going to go and do that.
Hold on,
and
I'm
Bradley.
gonna
Alrighty, so we're going to get into our big calls for the game. We'll go with our newcomer Johnny again. What's your big call for game one?
Big call for game one.
Get right out of there.
I don't know. Brimson comes on and scores a try. That's a big call.
AJ.
I don't think he will.
Where do you think he'll? Where do you think they'll play him?
I don't know.
It's such a bizarre choice to come off the bench. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it has to be wing or center, but he's too light. Like, he's too little. He's just going to get thrown over the sideline. Can you imagine Brimson running it like To'o?
I more so imagine if he's playing in the centres, trying to defend against someone like Turbo or Latrell. Like,
it's not going to happen.
Pumped anyway. Alrighty, so
I was hoping for a big call that was a bit more outlandish, but all right,
Soxy, you go.
All right, do you want to hear outlandish? Outlandish. Okay, my big call is that State of Origin game one, there will be 0 sin bins.
Game one, no sin bins.
Have we got? I got high queued up.
I don't know, man. I feel like this is where they get the NRL are going to try and be like, oh yeah, nah, we got it.
Yeah, that's right. That's my thinking is they're going to try and win everyone back on Origin.
Yep. Yeah, I think because everyone's so nervous going into it. Like, I think one of the first things they said after Magic Round was, "Oh, Origin's coming up. Like, what's going to happen there?" And I think I kind of agree that this will be their sort of like, oh no, guys, we're cool.
Yeah.
Like, we've got it under control.
And Sutton will do whatever the NRL tell him to when it comes to blowing the whistles.
Oh, dude, I'm so bummed out about him being a ref. I don't know how he got it over. Who's that other fella who will give it a run to?
Ben Cummins.
Atkins.
Yeah, Atkins. What the hell, man?
Ben Cummins.
Give him a run.
Atkins didn't get a run because he told Josh Mansour off. And Josh Mansour's mum wrote a
harshly worded email to
yeah. This is Karen Mansour. I don't like the way you
big paraffin Grant Atkins.
Embarrassed him on national television.
Yeah.
Bradley, what's
his
yours?
His dad played for Para. Oh, there's a stat for you. Grant Atkins' dad used to play for Para in the 80s.
Paul Kent also played a couple of games, if not maybe one for Para. But
That makes me sick. That
he played one game.
Sick.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to that motherfucker after this.
Yeah, his career ended.
My prediction, I've got two actually, if I may, is Felice Kafusi to score a double.
Yes.
But also, I think at some stage in the game, it'll be 12 play 11.
Do you think?
Yeah. I think someone goes off for a high shot and two more from each team go off for throwing pistons.
You're predicting actual send-offs because there's going to be zero
sin bins.
Hate to say it, but you're going to be...
So I'm going to put your... So you're going to say Kafus for 2 tries, and I'm going to say you're predicting a fight and a sin bin.
Good old cattle dog.
Who do you reckon's going to throw?
Who can throw? We're all injured.
I don't even know. I don't even know if there's really anyone in either team that would.
I reckon Tino can throw.
Tarek? Oh, Tino would. Yeah, Tino.
Tarek Sims probably.
Tarek.
Oh, actually,
he's already thrown knees, so he may as well start throwing knees.
Well, you remember Tino and Haas had a Barney last year.
And then Cherry Evans got fucking
giving the biz.
Saifidi might have a go.
I don't know if there's anyone that would actually throw them though. That's the only thing. Like if there was probably
I reckon Latrell would shove a few people.
As the Catch and Pass podcast, we're not about throwing hands, so they're my predictions.
Throwing passes
anymore. Yeah. Okay, so my I gave up my bold prediction earlier with Cook being man of the match, but I'll give another one. I will say Turbo to get a treble of tries. I'm going to say he's going to get 3.
It's so out there.
3 tries.
Okay.
3 tries at Origin.
Come back to me. I also predict a UFO over the stadium next Origin night. But
okay, you know what? I'm going to give another one.
Oh, here we go. Godzilla's going to streak the game. Godzilla.
You know what? That'll be my thing. There'll be an issue with the crowd at some point.
Do you know what the crowd issue will be? Everyone will leave the game and all their cars have been stolen in Townsville.
I'm going to say
sorry, Townsville listeners.
And I'm going to say there's.
But am I wrong?
I'm going to say there's some sort of altercation with the crowd, whether it be throwing cans, streak out. Something's going to happen with the crowd.
What about Pitch Invader throws hands at fucking Addo Carr or something? Good luck catching him, but.
If there was to be a bit of a question without notice, but if there was to be a fight, who are the 2 people that you'd like to see?
I don't like to see violence on the footy field. It's I'm
personally going to go Tino just because of last year. I feel like he's a bit of a hothead, and I'm going to go him against Paulo, just because Paulo has had a bit of a stint in boxing. It'd be interesting to see. I think he's got it in him to throw hands.
I think we already said it. Tino and Tarek for me.
I think that's a pretty good matchup. That's not a bad matchup. I think they're probably pretty even. What do you think, Johnny?
Cleary and Evans. Cleary and DC.
Could you imagine that? Actually,
there'd be a lot of backflipping.
It reminds me back in the day. I think it was Benji and.
Actually, hold on. One quick one. The crowd altercation might be Gus at the start of the match doing his speech from down in the in goal. He might legit have something. He might legit get. It's not that bold, man. It's not that crazy.
No, that's not.
Someone might throw their thong at him or something.
He'll be knocked out by a fucking Great Northern stubby or something.
Yeah. Imagine that mid Gus's last word, he starts getting pumped with shit.
Yeah, hit by a green mango, Jared Hayden prison style, getting fruited him.
I'd love that. That would be unbelievable.
And it's actually Matty Bowen who threw it at him.
Oh shit!
Alrighty.
And then Kamali gets it and throws it back to Bowen.
Oh, memory.
That hurts.
That features in my top 3 actually.
Let's do it.
Speaking of, we're going to go into our top 3 this week. So obviously, in previous
Why don't
weeks,
you go
we've been going
first?
through each position. Being a very Origin themed show this week, we're going to go in our top 3 series. I have to say right off the top, we started like the theme was Origin series, but I essentially made my decisions off one game out of each series, which kind of made the series for me, if that makes sense. So I'll go first. So my first one, these are in no particular order. My first one's the 92 series, but mostly the decider. We're going into it was one apiece. And one of the lines, I think, I'm not going to be able to say it properly, but Rabs was commentating in that game, and there was the run of play where essentially New South Wales scored, but Rabs said that line picked up by McGregor. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's probably one of the most iconic lines for me as a New South Wales supporter in Origin. And I can't remember the scoreline, but they obviously went on to win that. And I think it was one of they hadn't won very many in that time coming into the early 90s. 97, again, it's the 97 series, but the one particular thing, Rodonicus was probably a good year to bring up him being as coach, but he coached the New South Wales side in 97, and the infamous cattle dog call.
Is this
which
the Jamie Goddard?
Joey took it straight off me.
So
Deleted Joey.
All of my series are based around New South Wales winning, except for this one in particular. The cattle dog call was in game 3, and New South Wales had already wrapped it up, and it was a dead rubber. Queensland actually ended up winning this game. And again, it's kind of like the cattle dog call was fantastic. Like, I love hearing about the stories, especially with Spud Carroll, was just like, let's do it. Everyone that tells the story says Steve Menzies was like hating it, didn't want a part of it. But the fact that
he didn't like throwing.
but the best part of the fight was the fact that Joey got pumped by Goddard to start with, and then was like, I'm not having it. I'm coming around. But then Rabs with that call of, he's hit him with a right on the pecker. And I'll say, I don't know about anyone else's family in Australia, but in my family, pecker means dick.
Yeah.
So the fact that he said right on the pecker, I was just like, that is a really odd choice of words when you're talking about your nose. But so 92 decider, 97 cattle dog, and my all-time favourite, and it'll probably be my favourite forever, was, it's not even arguably, it was the most dominant performance by anyone in an Origin series ever, was when Joey came back in 2005. So the series is kind of remembered a little bit by Kamali throwing that intercept pass to Bowen and him scoring. But then Joe comes back in game 3 and puts puts the biggest clinic on that I've seen in any game. Origin, club level, international level. It was the best performance by a single player in history. Easily. Especially if you go back and really watch it. He makes probably zero mistakes, and especially at that level, like, for me, Origin is even above international. Like, I think if sort of like the best players from Origin play Australia, and they play the teams that aren't as good as Australia, but he completely carved them. He made them look kiddies. Any disputes on those 3?
No.
I stole one of mine, but I had a backup.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
5?
Nah, the cattle dog.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Rod Wishart,
Mine's
fuck
brother.
you.
Fucking Rod Wishart. All right, Jody, what are yours?
What do you got, bro?
This is no water. 2004 series, just Billy Slater in that series, the chip and chase try, unbelievable. I remember watching that, and I was just like,
Hang on a
Oh,
minute.
look at Hodgie.
Hang on a
He's
second.
about to say he
Wait.
was offside like a fucking
What is?
moron.
Yeah. One, he was, and two, are you a New South
Funny,
Wales
because the video
fucking
ref looked at
Queenslander?
it.
What's
settle
going
down.
on?
You'll wake the baby.
Fucking bullshit.
You're off your head, Hodge.
And Johnny's next one is 2007, Lockyer. Is that right?
Definitely not. Nah. Next one is Gullen's last Origin game. Michael Jennings scores the try. Boys come in to celebrate. Jennings fades off to the left. Someone comes in and tries to
Woods.
Woods comes in, falls over, just does the big Jesus in front of the ref at the end of it while there's a punch on going over his right shoulder.
He was filthy too, Jennings.
Yeah.
He like walked away. It was like proper salty at this.
Yeah, he was pretty upset.
Proper.
And then last one has to be Hogginson breaking the losing streak. Scores a try, converts it, and Queensland go back to losing the way they should.
That was my very
For 1
close.
year.
That was my very close.
I think we won the next 3 after that, but okay.
Shut the fuck up, right?
Welcome to the show.
I'm going to say in that 2014 series, you may note that Cooper Cronk broke his arm 10 minutes into game 1, and then in game 3, when he came back, we scored more points in that game than New South Wales did for the entire series. Unfortunately, it was all over by then.
Get a better backup.
That's your 3, Johnny.
Yeah, that's my 3, mate.
Cool.
That's
Good,
just a
good
little
2.
stat.
I'll give you the 2. I tell you what, you might not get a call back after that first one, but whatever. Soxy, what's yours, brother?
Okay, so you guys were talking about Cattle Dog, which was the poor man's version of something that came out of this series. 1995.
Give me a break.
Billy Moore chanting Queenslander walking down the tunnel.
That's not what I thought you were going to say, actually. Yeah, that's fair.
That it became iconic after that. Obviously, it was, what was it? Game 1 was 2-0. Decided by a Wayne Bartram penalty goal, and which, as you may recall, 95, it was the Super League War, and Queensland were declared then as having the worst team in history. They get up 2-0 in game 1, and the story
Fatty,
is,
wasn't it?
Yeah, Fatty was coach. The story is that Fatty got the boys in the room before game 2, and he said, rumor has it that the New South Wales boys are gonna start punching everyone in the head as soon as they hear Queenslander. So who's going to say it first? And 17 hands go up. So then game 2, you saw that massive brawl out of the scrum, and one of the best parts of that was seeing club teammates punching each other's head in and stuff like that. It was a great series.
How about the bloody 2-on-1 with probably the worst fight I've ever seen in my life with Matt Singh? Who's that guy?
Wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was Matt Singh. And who's that other fella that used to play for the fucking Bears? He played on the wing. He's that real gangly fella. It was Hopewade versus Matt Singh and that other fella.
Can't think of his name.
I can't remember his name for the life of me. But it was that's the worst fight in wrestling history.
Was it
Nah.
No, he
was that short fella. I wish I could remember his name. But that out of like that whole fight being super iconic, that little snippet of that 2-on-1 was the worst fight in rugby league history, easily. Matt Singh trying to throw haymakers and just missing. It was like a coward punch, but missed him.
And then game 3 was on the line, and then you remember right up the death, Brett Dallas gets like a big
David
run.
Barnhill.
Barnhill, he punched himself in the thigh. Remember, he comes down.
David Barnhill.
Look up that fight and watch David Barnhill punch himself in the thigh. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
I'm watching porn later, 2015 series.
So 95, that's the first one for me. Queensland ended up winning at 3-0 with the worst team in history.
Can I just add in, was game 3 at the MCG?
No, I don't believe so. I don't think Queensland have ever won at the MCG.
Yeah, that's I've only ever been to
Sorry?
I've never been to Any other Origin game but 95, the MCG.
What a surprise, Melbourne.
And my next one's game 2, Suncorp. After the game in Somalia.
Are you actually going?
Yeah, got tickets, bro.
Yeah, actually.
And Sean upstairs in his blue cloth.
So my next series.
Sorry, was that your first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my second one, just because it's fresh in the memory, 2020. It was another underdog story where I completely wrote Queensland off for this. As I said before, I predicted that New South Wales would win the series 3-0 and each game they'd win by 50-0, looking at the teams on paper. And what a story. Like, it was you just saw all these guys who would never normally make it into an Origin team, just pulling out every ounce of effort they had and somehow getting over the line. And it's like I said, it's one of my favorites, just for that reason, because we were completely expecting the opposite result. And coming at the end of what was a fucked year for the entire world in 2020, it was just a nice way to go out if you were a Queenslander.
I was a bit skeptical of the whole Origin thing at the end of the year, but I do agree with you in the fact that, like, it was just such a shit year. The NRL season was essentially broken into 2 parts, and having not scrapping the Origin, which I think they were sort of bringing up at the start, and actually really dedicating it to the end of the year, I think it was good call.
Mm.
Shit for the Blues because they lost, but good idea.
Yeah. Anyone else? Or I'll go with my third one.
Go.
My all-time favourite Origin series, 2006. So it starts off with New South Wales winning game 1 with Brett Finch kicking a field goal when he was called into he was called into the team 20 hours before the game because yeah, probably
100%.
Who did he replace, Hodgie? Was it? Or?
No, I think it was Trent Barrett.
Yeah, Barrett. He replaced Trent Barrett. Got injured, I think.
Yeah, he got slapped with Brown.
Yeah, he actually did his first training session in Chuck All-Stars. Yeah, he forgot his boots.
Yeah, that's right. So what a story that he it's called into the team like that and then kicks the winning field goal, and he scored a try in that game too. So like yeah, and at that point, people like that was Mal's first series as coach, and everyone's saying, "Oh, look at him, he doesn't know what he's doing." I think Inglis might have got injured. That was Inglis's debut. He might have got injured and he missed game 2 and 3. And so they call in, of all people, this weirdo winger from the Canberra Raiders, Adam Mogg, who...
Oh, my God, I remember that. That was shit.
And he becomes a fucking Queensland hero.
That was unbelievable. That's probably one of the biggest, like, so I guess maybe like step up from club to rep level, where they were just like, no one was talking about him before that. No one really talked about him long after. But
when he was named in the team, I was like thinking, who the fuck is Adam Mogg? and then sure enough, he pulls off. Do you remember that try that he got where the ball was about to go touching goal, and he's like jumped up and he's like falling backwards. And he's got the ball and his ass is about to hit the ground and he somehow gets the ball down inside the line just before his ass hits the ground. I don't know, look it up.
I've erased it from my mind.
It was an absolute pearler. Anyway, so
fuck Queensland, fuck animals.
So Moggy was a big hero in that series. But the epitome of that series, what sums it all up is Brett Hodgson throwing an absolute fucking bowling ball out of dummy half, which is swooped up on by the great man, Darren Lockyer.
That was heartbreaking.
And then he scores underneath the posts with his hand pumping in the air. And
John can't take any more of this.
I mean, the only unfortunate thing is that game 3 was played at played at Etihad Stadium in Melbourne and not at Suncorp, because what a finish that was. And
Suncorp.
that was it.
Yeah, fuck Suncorp.
And that was the start of 8 in a row. So
it was too. That's right. Yeah.
Because we were looking down the barrel of 4 series losses in a row, which was going to be a record.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and then they've pulled it up and then done the 8
the
straight.
first year, I bet you and fucking Dave.
And the greatest player to never win a Dally M wins the game for us.
Dally M, who cares?
Roll into my 3. So I had, in no specific order.
You say this every week.
All right, I'll go to jail.
I want a 1, 2, 3. Give me 1, 2, 3.
All right,
Stop
cool.
playing favourites.
Okay.
Get off the fence.
Okay, 3 simple. Game
to
3, 2002. I was in grade 12. I remember seeing it because I used to get ragdolled like this around my school yard in grade 12. Tallis on Hodgie. Sorry, Hodgson. Same thing, both useless. Second, game 3. Second, I've removed just now Lockie's intercept try in game 3, 2006, and replaced it with game 2, 2017 JT on one arm, winning that series for us. And didn't
New
feature
South Wales
again.
refused to run at him.
Yeah, and Joey Johns, I've never seen Joey Johns so emotional and so just he skipped disappointed dad and went straight to just like you really felt
so
Joey Johns. It was so blatantly obvious that everyone should have run at JT.
Everyone was like, his arm is like limp next to him, and I don't think he made a tackle.
No one ran at him.
But he 18-16, the sideline goal, and that was the end of the great man's 37-game career for the Maroons. And that year we went on to play the Storm in the grand final, losing, but that was awesome. But my number 1, and I've just added it in now, is JT again, the 2015 series, which we won. Telling Mitchell Pearce that he will take a photo of Mitchell Pearce standing next to Wally holding the statue, and that was the moment it was just awesome. Like Pearce has
that's
proven
probably the biggest burn of like rugby league history. And
Pearce has proven
because it was on Pearce
time and time again.
Man,
so what you're talking about was it something along the lines of, he said you better get a photo next
with
to
Wally.
the statue with Wally, because that's the only
Closest
time
you get to the shield.
get to the shield. Yeah.
And then he turned back, and you can see him say, "I'll even take the photo for you."
Yeah.
And that was the series. Pearce just continued to bomb to our wings. These sort of
Corey
mediocre bombs, uncontested, and our wingers and centers were making like 40 meters a game against his kicks. Like just the first 2 tackles was 40 meters upfield, because Pearce just had no. He was so intimidated. Like to see someone that's played so many games for the Roosters and the Knights and the Blues, and to see someone so intimidated and just puppy dogged by Thurston was just brilliant. And
that was the bizarre thing with Pearce, was like he was such. Like, especially in that time when he was at the Roosters, he was such a great number 7. Like, he was a legitimate, like, he was a great number 7. But for whatever reason, like, he went to that origin level. And it's like, you play Lockheed, you play all these guys on the weekend, and you're sweet. But for whatever reason, he put on that Blues jersey and just didn't. Like, didn't perform, because he kind of like, he would always kind of do his job, but he'd just do it mediocre as. Like, there was just nothing.
He never stood out when he should have.
Never. I mean, I'm kind of glad that he ended up being able to win the series. I think he came back. He played game 3 or something last year or the year before. It must have been the year before.
2019,
yeah. 2019, he ended up getting a win. But, I mean, don't hang your hat on that, because you had him however many origins before that where you had the chance and was a piece of shit. So fuck you, Pearce. I hope you listen to this.
That's all our origin moments for this week, but or for as long as Origin's been played. But yeah, top 3.
Yeah, so that's all our top 3s. We'll go into our tips now. We'll start wrapping it up.
Only a short round.
Yeah, it's a very short round. It's only 4 games this week. So we got Broncos and Dragons. What are you thinking, Johnny?
It's a hard one. 50-50. I think Dragons.
Big scoreline.
Dragons?
I reckon, I don't know, big scoreline. I reckon DeBellin gets a try though.
DeBellin, good call. I'm
they
pretty
they might
stoked
look
to
at
see
it
him
2 or
back.
3 times and then disallow it or something.
rushing him back in, but yeah.
Do you think? I don't know. I've heard that even though he hasn't got really a lot of match fitness, but apparently he's one of the fittest at the club. So I don't know.
He's been training. He's been training, and
He's been
trained
training, yeah.
The whole time, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Not with the club
face it.
though, because he hasn't been allowed to be training at the
No.
club. But yeah, he's been training. He only played 40-something minutes in New South Wales, but apparently he killed it. So
It's very
I mean,
agile
let's face
too. He's very agile
Dragons
too
aren't going
because
that well.
we've got it on good authority that he can actually dodge bullets.
I can't wait till the Broncos get embroiled in something.
Oh, my man!
I'm coming back on when the Broncos get embroiled in
So it was
something.
nice having you, John.
So St George by 50.
Bradley, you got.
If Broncos win this game, then you got to come back on wearing a Broncos jersey.
Done.
I-
I'll do that.
I don't know. I can't split them, but I do know that Corey Norman needs a huge game, as does Ben Hunt. But if I'm going to lean one way or the other, it's Dragons, just purely on Hunt and McCulloch.
Stocksy, you got dog the boys or?
No, I'm going Broncos.
We're going the Broncos.
I'm going to go 1-12. We've got our best halves combo coming back with Albert Kelly and Tyson Gamble back in the mix. That's our best combo this year.
When's Kate Hunt going to get a run? For fuck's sake.
He's
Put him
injured.
in.
So look out for the debut on the wing of Selwyn Cobbo. He's just
I've heard a lot about this guy.
yeah, there's been a bit of
Big
hype
raps.
about him. There was a few clubs after him, and he's just actually signed on until the end of 2023 with the Bronx.
On a
Has he
million bucks a
actually?
year.
Yeah, what a legend. So look out for Cobbo on the wing.
Comfort.
I've actually gone the Broncos as well.
Legend.
No real reason. I just haven't really been convinced about the Dragons yet this year. I agree, sort of, that Norman and Hunt, if they're going to have a big game, it's probably going to be this one. I don't know. For whatever reason, I just bit of a toss of the coin, bit of a 50-50 game. I've gone the Broncos.
Tough one to
and
split.
It is a little bit. Where's it being played? Suncorp?
Down.
Nah, Jubilee.
Jubilee.
Yeah,
Was it Okie? No, was it Okie? I don't think Hook has a very good record against his old teams either, does he?
Who?
No, I don't think so.
Hmm.
He's best mate. Loves the nickname.
Such a clutch nickname.
Next one.
Clutch.
Panthers, Tigers. Who you got, Johnny?
This is, I think Panthers, but Tigers are a shout here with Panthers having the players out they do. But I don't know. I think Panthers have got the depth to get the job done. I think if Panthers, I'll say one thing quickly with Panthers, if they can get through Origin and not drop a game through Origin, they've got a massive shout at undefeated whole season.
It says a lot, I think. I mean, they do have a much. Their first half of the year is way easier than their run home. Their run home is essentially full of top 8 players, but yeah, we'll see. Who you got, Brad?
Nah, Panthers too classy. Even with like I look at and Dylan Edwards is back as well, so he's going to be managing the team. Burton at number 6 and Tyrone May I found interesting at 7, but too much class, way too much class.
From Tyrone May.
Like you've got some really good senior. I'm just looking at the list now. Fisher Harris, Kikau, Burton, not so much senior, but Stephen Crichton and those guys, too much class.
Who have you got, Stocks?
Not that I'm convinced, but I'm gonna tip the Tigers purely just because of all the outs and playing at Leichhardt on Friday night. Should be a good atmosphere. If they do pull it off, Dewey's going to have a blinder.
Hey, can I just say as well, I went to golf today with our guest last week, Brett, and I saw it in the papers yesterday, but I think Michael Maguire's finally got his spine with Dane Laurie at the back, Mbai, Luke Brooks, and that Jacob Little, that hooker. Like, Tigers are, I think, going to come. They're going to do that thing where they went like this. What did they do at the start of the season? They were sort of like up here. Now they're here, and they're going to do like that double camel and like finish ninth, obviously. But it's good that they've got their spine now worked out.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of leaning towards the Tigers, probably just scraping in the 8. I think from sort of like 7 to 14, or like there's not much in it, and I think they're starting to sort of hit their straps a little bit where they have points in them, and if they come up against teams
Like
towards the end of the year, like the Sharks, where they can put some points on them, I think they're 50-50 games. I think they'll probably win more than they lose their 50-50s.
Towards the back end, okay, fair.
Yeah.
You're only saying no, Brad, because Cowboys are normally the team to scrape in the 8.
But you haven't.
That's a true statement.
Just on stat stocks in, cue up my man. You haven't been alive for a Parramatta grand final win, mate.
That's how
welcome to first grade.
Just there's a statue out the front. You can get your photos.
And the best part about the Origin bit in Townsville this week is if Pierce goes and watches it, there's a statue of JT out the front of the stadium.
Mate, the last place in the world Pierce is going to be is in Townsville. There that much. I'm obviously going to go with Panthers.
The airport will ring first.
I feel like for the most part, their backline, it changes, but sort of, I think Stephen Crichton not getting picked in New South Wales side kind of helps him a little bit. And then Dylan Edwards comes up obviously back in. So it's sort of Robert Jennings comes in on the wing. I mean, I don't really rate him, but I think he'll be able to do a job for the games. If Toto plays well enough to play all 3 games, I think Rob Jennings probably comes in and does a job for those games. Burton at 6, we all know how I feel about him after last week's podcast. He's a throbber, absolute throbber.
Amberley?
Long and hard.
Tyron May, I haven't seen him really play that position where he plays 7. He's sort of like stepping into Cleary's shoes. Definitely a lot of Panthers supporters are going to expect that kind of Cleary-esque sort of thing. They came up together. I'm not really convinced about him yet. Even coming on in 14, I think he hasn't really done a lot. But I mean, I don't know. I think he'll do enough to be able to steer the park around. Matt Burton's got a huge kick on him, as well as
kick. He said kick,
as well as other things, not just kicking.
Yeah, Tyrone May's got the video of it.
But
this is where you loop in from last week. Long and hard.
But having Coruscant out, Matt Kenny sort of stepped in that position when Coruscant was injured and still did a job. Leonard comes in the front row. Fisher Harris is still there. Scott Sorensen, Kickow. Eisenhuth has been great off the bench so far for this year. Comes in for Isaiah. So I think as much as the side sort of changes, I feel like their replacements are still probably pretty good. And the Tigers have been okay.
2 games left in the round, mate. Who are you tipping?
This is the most exciting time for me for this year because we're not a guaranteed winner, right? So I'm going.
He's like playing the pokies, hoping he loses.
I'm going for it. So then next one we've got Storms and Titans. You go, Johnny.
Oh, there's nothing to really say, is there? Storm by
coast, isn't it?
It's plural. We pronounce storms.
That's one of the rules on the show.
Storm by 30.
Are you going to watch it?
30. No,
you have to say storms. It's a rule of the show. You have to say storms.
Yeah, have to say storms.
No, it's at Sunshine Coast Stadium.
Oh,
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's at Sunny Coast. Yeah.
Hodgie.
Okay.
What day is it? No, night shift, brother.
Go see your Titans live, mate.
Storm by 30 plus. Easy. Storms.
I'm actually I'm a little bit surprised that. I mean, I think actually, no, take it back. I was going to say about Storm. been.
You can relate this back to
but
Penrith somehow.
I was a little bit. I was going to say, it's like they're a little bit the same as Penrith with the people that are out. They're kind of
No, they're still got quality.
I will say, Cooper Johns gets his first run at legitimate 6 this week.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. Like, I'm a huge fan of Matty John's podcast. I think he's a funny motherfucker on that. But, geez, he's not an NRL standard half.
We haven't seen enough of him, man. You can't, like, let's not burn him just like the early crow. Like, haven't seen enough of him.
Man. But
he's been around a while. He's
been around a little while. And the games that he has played, he just has done
nothing.
Like, everyone talked up about that try that he scored. It was forward pass, probably should have been try anyway. But also caught it and only ran 15, 20 metres.
And let's not write off.
And it was in junk time as well.
Let's not write off Craig Bellamy's effect on players at that club just yet. But Jack Johns next game, Knights, get Jack Johns.
Hang on, who we picked?
Everyone's gone Storms. Everyone's gone Storms.
Everyone's
Storms.
Eels Knights. Big game.
Yeah.
Big game.
Now we got Reed back. Eels
and Blake Ferguson dumped this week.
Dumped for Dunster.
Wonga Blake keeps his spot.
Blake keeps his spot, which is crazy, but
apparently
how do you keep Blake and ditch Ferguson? That's nuts.
Hayes Dunster's been tearing.
They're probably expecting a few high balls coming, so
maybe. But
Ferguson.
No. Para definitely. Another John's playing for the Knights this week too.
Yeah, Jack debut.
I'm pretty keen to see how he goes. I've seen him play.
He's a big dude too. Like I would have thought
he's big, man.
He's a big dude. Like I thought. I don't know. Like
where does he play?
Second row. Mostly, I don't know where he's playing this week, but he mostly plays second row.
That's odd, hey? How you'd be affiliated to the third or fourth best ever halfback and play second row.
Yeah, Matty Johns, he was pretty good. I wouldn't call him third or fourth best.
No, Jack Johns is Andrew's son. No,
he's not.
No,
it's Matty's.
No, he's Matty's.
I don't
think Joey has any
6.
sons,
I think.
He's got Jack and Cooper.
Young as fuck, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think Jack is a lot bigger. He's like much bigger than definitely Cooper. Like he's huge, much bigger than Cooper and much bigger than Matty. And he's got that sort of second row build.
Second row centre. Yeah. Like Matt, like
I've seen him
long.
I'd say he's probably more suited to maybe Capel. He's probably pretty similar to Capel.
Like big.
I've seen him. Well, Throbber. Everyone comes out of pennies and Throbber, mate. I've seen him play a couple of games.
Jared Salmon.
Jamie Soward.
Mate, that no regrets tattoo just gets me every time.
Sowie is a Kringle High School alum like myself. Sorry.
Oh, you let yourself down there.
And Peter Sterling as well.
What about that cuck Wayne Carey? Isn't he from your neck of the woods?
Yeah, different school though.
Oh, okay.
And he wasn't the cuck, he was doing the cucking.
Doing the cucking.
Yeah.
That is probably the best call you've ever made. Yeah, that is
as a pod, we don't condone cucking either.
No, he's a dad.
Be the cuck.
Glassed his missus as well. So.
Cuck responsibly.
Be the cucker, not the cucky.
Oh, boys, that's time. Just about, isn't it?
Don't cuck with your mates' wives. Don't cuck your mates.
Who we got?
Be
Newcastle.
careful with the cuck.
Everyone's on para, yeah?
Okay, so
Hodge have to win a game. It has to be this game.
So this is where my curse comes in, where the opposite will happen to what I tip.
So you tip Knights.
So I did write down Knights, but I think
did
I've got a bit of it. I got a bit. Yeah, I wrote down Knights because I wanted Para to win.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'm just playing reverse psychology on the fates. But
Let's
I've got a bit of attitude in that Broncos Dragons game, so I'm going to tip Para now. Official, it's locked in.
Your curse will be broken, mate. Trust me. I think Eels losing 2 on a trot. They're going to come in hard, and Knights aren't going to have enough.
No Frizzell, no. Clemmer's playing, yeah? Or is he
No,
out?
Yeah.
Clemmer's out.
Yeah.
Oh, he's out.
No
He's out.
Safidi. No
Ponga.
Ponga, yeah.
There's too
It's-
many
it-
losses in the Knights team.
It's
like,
yours to lose, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
If
Parramatta
Eels
win
lo-
this,
if
they
Eels
can
lose, I'll
fucking
throw my
get out of
jersey
the 8
in.
right now.
Yeah.
I'm
If
off for
Eels-
the rest of the season. And you're out.
The
You
Knights-
know what? You know what, Johnny? You know what, Johnny? If Parramatta win this week, you're gone, mate. This is your first and last.
No.
Yeah.
We'll edit you out of this pod too. Like
We'll upload this
Fair
one.
enough.
We'll wait for the result, and then we'll go back and cut you out.
Yeah.
So no
It's
pressure.
like the
pressure,
podcast
boys,
version
but,
of being cucked.
Yeah.
yeah. Be ready to be cut.
Yeah. Right.
All right, boys. I
That's
think that's good. Ed.
No, in all honesty, yeah, I don't think the Eels will struggle too much.
I can't imagine. I can't.
Where's it
I
at?
mean,
is it
I
out?
don't even know.
It's in
I'm
Newey.
sure.
In
That's
Newey.
not- That's not going to help. That's not going to help.
Are you going to that game?
Fuck them.
Nah, we Paris supporters do not travel up north that far.
Or south. All right, boys. Good
Honey-
out. Good
Honey,
out.
I'm just going to the shop. Be careful.
Next week, we'll be back. It'll be the night before Origin. So it'll probably be Origin themed. Obviously, with the short round this week. But yeah, thanks, Johnny, for coming on.
No,
Uh,
thanks for having me.
You've been a great standing guest, and we'll definitely keep you on the short list for obviously depending on how Barry go this weekend.
He'll be back. He'll be back. Johnny will be back.
New
Yeah.
South Wales win the series, then
Yeah, we'll
straight
win
to
the series
straight
3-0.
to jail. Straight to
3-0.
We might even do a pod with an extended group. Do a
Yeah. Do a
sixer
6-man.
instead of a fourer. We'll
Dude,
get everyone in.
6
Try
cucks.
and- We'll try and dipod you
Have a
when
group
we do an all
cuck,
Queensland
as they say.
pod, hey?
6 cuck combo. A
Six-
cucka zinger box. Cucka
Gotta
box.
say, you've got to say
cuck
this
special.
this episode has run quite long, and
Kentucky
there's
Fried
a lot
cuck.
lot more cucking involved than I was expecting.
KF
Live long
cuck.
the cuck. Live long the
All right,
cuck.
boys.
All right, boys. Thanks very much again, Johnny. And yeah, we'll see you next week.